Piano keyboard.
All right. Keyboard. What do the white keys represent?
An octave.
Note.
Notes.
Note.
What kind of notes?
Full note. Full note.
Still looking for a certain term. Neutral notes.
Neutral note.
In the sense, no sharps, no flats.
Right, okay.
Or natural notes, right? So,
Natural.
again, this guy is what?
C,
C,
D, E, F, G, A, B.
Good. And I'll add one more just for an octave.
Right.
And that's going to be
C.
C. Okay. All right. The black keys, what do they represent?
Sharps and flats.
Sharps and flats. So if my C is here, and I'm going... Wow.
It's Alexa.
If I'm at C, and I go up a half step,
C
C
sharp.
sharp.
C sharp or
D flat.
D flat. Now, I'll get to why it makes a difference and how we're going to tell which to put in a second. The one between D and E is
D sharp.
D sharp or
E flat.
E flat. Is everyone on the same page at the moment that the black keys represent sharps or flats, and these are your neutral notes or your natural notes C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Now, every time we go from a white to a black,
Half step.
It's a
that's
half
called
step.
considered a half step. 2 half steps are
Whole
a
step.
whole step. Not too bad, right?
Okay.
Now, what's awkward about E to F?
No sharp.
There's
flat.
no sharp or flat. It's just a
There's
whole-
no black key. So even though white to white here is a whole step, because you go half step, half step, half step, half step, because there's no black key in between, when you go a half step up from E, it goes straight to F. That's important. And that's the only time, whenever you're dealing with E to F or B to C, something weird is going to happen. So in my head already, whenever I'm dealing with E to F or B to C, flags are going to go off in my head. Now, let's take a look at this. If I was to leave out my scale notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and let me make sure everything is in frame. Oh, that looks great. Okay. How many have you heard of the term whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half? What that's saying is that the step between 1 and 2 is going to be a whole step. Same thing from 2 to 3. 3 to 4 is going to be half. And then we have a whole, half. Now, to help emphasize that, because there's only 2 that are different, I'm just going to put a little caret. From 3 to 4, 7 to 8. Now, just like E to F, B to C, I know that whenever I'm dealing now with 3 to 4, 7 to 8, something different is going to happen. So I have 3 to 4, 7 to 8. In the key of C, it happens to line up perfectly that there's no sharps or flats. But let's go through it just to make sure. If we're in the key of C, and C is our root, our 1, the next note in our scale, the 2, how many half steps from 1 to 2 is there? 2. 2 half steps.
Right.
So I'm at C. Here's 1 half step. Here's my second half step. So my 2 is D. Nice and easy. 2 to 3 is a half or whole step. Whole step. Here's my D. How many half steps in a whole? 2. So I'm going to go up 2 half steps. 1, 2. So it's E. Now, something weird is going to happen. Not only am I dealing with 3 to 4, but I'm dealing with an E. 3 to 4, half or whole step?
3 to 4 is a half step.
3 to 4 is a half step.
Oh, okay.
So here's my 3. What's a half step up from E?
Yeah.
F. So again, the template is whole, whole, half, whole, half. So that's why 3 to 4, people knew it had to be a half step because that's our template. That's what it has to be. So a half step up from E is
F.
straight to F. Good. 4 to 5, easy. Whole step up from F is
G.
G. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Whole step up? A. Whole step up.
B.
B. Now, 7 to 8, half or whole?
Half.
Half. Here's my B. What's a half step up?
C.
C. Because again, there's no black key to jump to, so it goes straight to C. Now, your 1 and 8 is an octave. It should always match. If not, you did something wrong. Any questions thus far? Not too bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, next key. F. Let's say we're in the key of F.
Mm-hmm.
F is our root.
Mm-hmm.
1 to 2, half or whole step.
Whole.
Good. So here's my F. 1 to 2, we know it's going to be a whole step. So how many half steps in a whole?
2.
2. 1, 2. So F2.
G.
Good. 2 to 3, half or whole.
Whole.
Whole step.
A.
Right? 2 to 3 is whole. So G2. A.
A.
Ah, 3 to 4, half or whole.
Half.
Half. Something weird is going to happen. Here's my A. I need only a half step. What's a half step up from A?
A sharp.
Oh, right, because it's got to
No.
be different
So,
letter.
this has to be B flat because we always need an instance of every letter.
Oh.
Got
But it's still
Ah.
gonna sound the same as A sharp.
Okay.
So that's why even though that key, that note will sound exactly the same, we have to call it a B flat, or else it will throw things off.
Okay.
So we have to have a representation of every letter. Not too bad?
Okay.
Wow.
All right. 4 to 5, half or whole step?
Whole.
Whole step. I'm dealing with a B, so I know something weird is going to happen. So I'm looking at B flat. Here's my B flat. We need a whole step away, which is how many half steps?
2.
2.
So
What's
that's
one half step up? B. What's another half step up?
C.
Straight to C. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not too bad? 5 to 6, half or whole?
Whole.
C to
D.
D. 6 to 7, half or whole?
Whole.
D to
E.
E. So not too bad. Now, something weird is going to happen. Not only am I dealing with 7 to 8, but I'm dealing with an E. Half or whole, 7 to 8. Half.
F.
E to
F.
F.
F. And that matches my 1 and 8. Can we try one more?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Can people see on the, if I write the bottom one more time, or should I make a new one up here? One more maybe?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's say we're playing in the key of
A.
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 Ah, not too bad though.
No.
1 to 2, half or whole?
Whole.
A to
B.
B. 2 to 3, half or whole? Whole. But I'm dealing with the B, so I know something weird is going to happen. Here's my B. I need 2 half steps.
C
So
sharp.
C sharp.
What's one half step?
C.
What's another half step?
C
C sharp.
C sharp. Why not D flat?
Because you need a C.
Because I need to represent a C in there.
Oh, man.
Ah. 3 to 4, half or whole?
Half.
Half. Because again, 3 to 4 will always be a half step. Here's my C sharp. Half step up.
D.
D. See how easy this is?
Yeah.
4 to 5, half or whole?
Whole.
Whole.
D to.
E.
So here's my D. 1, 2, 2 half steps to my E. 5 to 6, half for whole. Whole step. But I'm dealing with an E. Something weird is about to happen.
Yeah.
Here's my E. I need 2 half steps. What's one half step?
F.
F.
What's another half step?
F sharp.
Why not G flat?
Because you need an F.
Because we need an F. See? Easy. Here's my F sharp now. I need half or whole for 6 to 7. A whole step. 1, 2, 2,
G sharp.
G sharp. 7 to 8, half or whole?
Half.
Half. Here's my G sharp, half step up.
A.
A.
That's
In the
it.
beginning.
That's it. And that matches
3 sharps.
1 and 8.
Hey. Far out. Wow.
Now, this is your homework assignment number 1. When you're drinking your tea or coffee in the morning, you're going to write out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You're going to put a little caret between 3 and 4. You're going to put a caret between 7 and 8. And you can even write down the C scale if you want to just get you started. Then you're going to choose a key that you frequent, maybe G or D, and you're going to do the exact same steps to write out your scales. And there's a reason why we're doing this. But does that seem tangible at the moment?
Yes.
Is there anything confusing about that that I can go back on?
Wow.
Right now, again, there's no math, there's no reading notes at all. All we're doing is literally just counting the steps between, and as long as you have that template, whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half, and you know that there's nothing between E and F, and you know that there's nothing between B and C. Again, that's the tricky part. That's the part that throws us off because of that awkward part about if there's a black key or not. Once we get that in our heads, we're golden. Now, the why. The why is this important? Not only is this telling you what scale notes are in any given key, but how far on? Oh, because it gets the whole board. Okay, so not only does it tell you your scale notes, but it's going to tell you how to make chords within that key. So for example, can I erase this guy for now?
Yep.
Okay. A major triad, or let's say a C major chord. What's the difference between a note and a chord?
Combination of chords. Combination
A note
of
is one, and a chord is a combination. Good. So a major chord is equal to the numbers 1, 3, 5.
A major chord?
A major chord. That means if I'm in the key of C and I want to play a C major chord, what notes would that consist of?
C.
C, E, and
G.
now let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at our uke in the sense of this fretboard. What is the string name closest to your face?
C.
So that's my G, and this one is
C.
C, and this string is E. So already I have my 5, my 1, and my 3.
Yeah.
Now, a triad is made up of how many different notes?
3.
3. So how many strings do we have?
4.
So that means one note will be repeated.
Oh, repeated.
So, even though we know this, if we don't know what note this is, let's walk it up. What string name is this? A. So, as if we were playing this guy here, what does one fret represent on your uke? A half step. So, 1/2 step up from here to here is the same as going from here to here. So, my A note up half step would be
B flat.
B flat or A sharp. Another half step up would be B. And as you see, again, between B and C, there's nothing. So if I do a half step up from B, it goes straight to
C.
Yeah.
C. So again, we can figure out how to walk and find our notes. So this is our C. So our C is repeated. Or in this case, I would call this my 8 because it's an octave up. But you can easily replace them. Easy. Now, knowing that, so this is my 5, my 1, and my 3, and here's my 8, or 1. And that's still my triad. Now, if I asked you for a C major 7, or just a major 7th chord, this is what it's going to look like. A 1, 3, 5, and a 7. Looking at my C scale here, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, what's my 7 note?
B flat.
7. No,
B flat.
Here's my 8, here's my 7, which is
oh, B. In which key are you?
C.
Oh, okay.
So my 7
yeah,
is my B. Now, if we knew this was my 8, and I already have my triad here, I already have a representation of a 1, 3, and 5, I now need a 7. If this is my 8,
Go back.
my 7 is how many half steps away?
1.
Just 1, right? Just that 7 to 8 is always going to be half steps. So if I'm at my 8, I can go backwards 1, and that turns into my B note, or my
Major 7.
major 7. So all of a sudden, I went from, can I borrow this again?
By all means.
Thank you.
You don't have to keep asking.
I have my C major triad with a repeated C note. I'm gonna take my 8, my C note, play my 7th note, which is my B note,
G.
and that's my C major 7. Now here is the most irritating, confusing, frustrating thing that no one tells you when you pick up the ukulele. A C major 7 is not a C7.
No.
Right.
C7 is actually a short name for C dominant 7.
Huh.
So when we see, so this right now, if we were to write this out, it would be just C. A C major 7 would look like C major 7 or C triangle 7. Now, for a C7 or C dominant 7, it's going to consist of a 1, 3, 5, and a flatted 7. And that's the most frustrating thing because I kept playing the wrong chord when I started out because I assumed the major 7th was C7 in shorthand, but it's a completely different chord. So this one would be written as a C7. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if this is my 7 note and I need a flat 7, what do I do?
Go down one.
Go down another half step. So I'm taking my 7 note and I'm flatting it to get my flatted 7th note, and this is now my B flat. So I went from a C major to a C major 7. I'm gonna flat that 7 to a C dominant 7.
Hmm.
Not too bad.
Wow.
If you were a betting person, and I asked you what numbers make up a major 6 chord, what would you guess those numbers are?
1, 3, 5, 6.
A 1, 3, 5, 6. This is so literal. This is, again, as long as you understand what they're asking for, it's all laid out. So I asked for a major 6 chord. So major 6. Now, so we said 1, 3, 5, and 6. If I have a flat 7 note on my B flat here, what's my 6? A half step down, right? A flat 7, half step down to a 6. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So for those so if you're watching our 8, we did a half step down for the B note, which is our major 7, a flat 7 for the dominant 7, and then a half step down to the 6th note, which is our A. How many half steps down from B flat is A? 1. And this becomes my 6th note. Now, if that's a C major 6, that's why this is called C6 tuning. Because we're playing an open major 6 chord, an open C major 6. So this is exactly why you hear, oh, that ukulele is tuned C6 or C6 tuning. D6 tuning is when everything is up a whole step. A lot of the Canadians play in D6, but it's making a D major 6 chord when they play it open. That's where that term comes from. Does that make sense? Yes?
So a baritone ukulele would be open G6 tuning because that's how you play it
Yes.
open? Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Not too bad? Now, is there, again, is any concepts kind of foreign right now? Again, if we have this video for reference. Yes?
When you asked the question about what was the spacing between each fret,
Yes.
I know you said something about a half step. I'm
Yes.
unclear why.
So every fret represents a half step up.
So a half step on the keyboard.
So on the
is same as
keyboard-
a fret.
Yes. And then sometimes it's straight from the white to white, depending on, but it's exactly represented in the same way. If you're to do a chromatic scale, a half step at a time here is the same thing as moving half step up or 1 fret at a time on the fretboard. Great question.
And this is all key of C.
Yes.
Okay, because if you switch key F, then it's not going to be G.
No, let's see. So in the key of F,
Right.
what is my major made of? 1, 3, 5. What is my 1, 3, 5 in the key of F?
A.
F, A, C. So now we have this on the video, so I'm going to erase this. Is that okay?
Mhm.
All right. Oh, and actually, let's do A. A is more fun.
Okay. Same principle.
Only because I hear people groan when I hear A. So when I say A, so I want to make sure
Same principle.
we tackle A a little bit. So this is my fretboard, and I'm playing an A chord. Let's look at the notes we're playing. So already, what string is this?
G.
G. What's a half step up from G?
G
G sharp. What's another half step up?
A.
Everyone understand how we got there?
Yeah.
Right.
Perfect. So here's my A note. Actually, I'll put it on the bottom. It'll be. Here's my A note. What string is this?
C.
C. What's a half step up from C?
C sharp.
C sharp. And I can kind of cheat. I know that we have sharp, so it's going to be C sharp, not flat. And by the way, you will never see a mixture of flats and sharps in any given key. So just know that once you start in sharps, you'll always, for that key,
Okay.
be in sharps, unless there's accidentals or something weird. Like, yeah. So here's C sharp. What string is next?
E.
E. What string is next?
A.
Good. So numbers wise, if we're in the key of A, the A is what number?
1.
1. The C sharp is
3.
3. And the E is?
5.
Does everyone understand how we got that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
Okay.
the major A chord.
That's the major triad of an A major chord. Yes.
Okay.
So
Yes.
if you said it doesn't, once you start the piece of music, if you're looking at it, it will not change from sharps to flats?
No.
Unless it changes keys
Yeah.
somewhere in the
Yeah.
piece, then they might. Now, and would they do flats instead of sharps to change the key, just to make that more obvious that you're changing keys?
Maybe no, probably not.
Just because they should?
Now, out of curiosity, instead of 1, what else could I write for the 1? An 8. Now, out of curiosity, if I asked you for an A major 7 chord, what numbers does that consist of again?
1, 3, 5, 7.
So here's my 1, 3, 5. Here's my triad. So that again is taken care of. Now I just need a 7 in there.
You gotta go
Oh.
So I
So
can
you
take my
go-
8 and I can make it a 7.
G sharp.
And all of a sudden now I can play an A major 7 easily because I took my A note here and went to a 7 note. Now,
So you, okay, so you have the option of changing
Could you
the
change the other?
fourth string or
I
the
could
first
change
string?
the other one, but can I get lower than the open A?
No.
So this is where things
Yeah.
then sometimes you would have to add another note on a different string and then move that one. So again, that's where moving up the net comes into play because sometimes you're limited by your lowest note on the string.
But but in some cases, it's a matter of which one's easier to make.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Got it.
So here's my 7. What is the difference between a major 7 and a dominant 7?
Flat 7.
A flatted 7. So if this is my 7 and I flat it,
Oh,
this
no.
is my
Open.
A7 or A dominant 7 that we all know and love.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now, unfortunately, I can't flat that again for my 6 because it's the open string. But again, you'll see if you get to that shape in a different part, then you
So
can.
A7 and A dominant 7 are the same.
Yes. A7 is shorthand for saying A dominant 7, which again is the most frustrating
Yeah.
thing that no one ever talks about at
Yeah,
first. And it's
yeah.
like, son of a gun. All right. Now, that's only one benefit of using your scale notes. So again, part 1, being able to write out your scale notes in any given key. And don't pick like just completely random keys. Pick a key that you see in your charts, like C, D, F, G. Like don't like do something that you never play in. You know, it's just
Flat.
we want to get you
Yeah.
used to things that you already play.
I play B flat.
Now, the scale notes help you create your chords within that key, but it also tells you the family of chords that you will typically see.
Oh.
So, I'm gonna rewrite this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Not only do these represent your notes in the scale, but also the number of the chord. For example, the 1 will be a major, your 2 will be a minor, 3 minor, 4 major, 5 major or dominant 7, 6 will be minor, 7 will typically be a half diminished, or don't worry about 7 because you won't really see it ever. So we're gonna worry about 1 through 6. If you jumped in a circle of people playing, I said, oh, we're playing a 1-6-2-5 in the key of C. What does that mean? It means they're playing a 1 chord, which is in the key of C,
A C.
a C major. So 1-6-2-5 equals a C major. The 6th chord, what is the 6th chord? A, and the 6th, so minor. Does everyone see that? So I'll write it over here one more time too, because it's nice to have everything in one section to look at, because I don't like moving back and forth. 1 will be major, 2 minor, 3 minor, 4 major, 5 major or dominant 7, 6 minor. So the 6 was going to be A minor. My 2 chord is what?
Minor.
D minor.
Right.
My 5 chord,
G.
G or
G7.
G7. So that's why you'll see a lot of songs doing, in the key of C, you'll see a lot of A minors, you'll see a lot of D minors, and you'll see a lot of Gs. If I said we're playing a 1-4-5 progression in the key of C, what does that mean? What's my 1 chord?
C.
What's my 4 chord?
F.
F. What's my 5 chord?
G. G7.
So that's why you hear a lot of C, F, G, C, F, G. If I said we're playing a 1-3-4-5 in the key of C, what does that mean? C major,
E minor.
E minor,
F.
F, and G. C, E minor, F, and G or G7. So if you can write out your scale notes, now you have a template of what chords you'll typically see in that key. Which means then, if someone says we're in the key of C, without even knowing the numbers, you at least have some guesses that you'll make. And when you hear that 1 to 5 transition, 1, where it feels like it's gonna shoot back to the 1, that's when you know, okay, that must be a G or G7. But this is where we get that kind of jumping off point and starting to hear these changes. But a lot of it has to do now with what chords you see. Now, these rules are 99% of the songs that you play will follow these rules. Certain genres will break the rules a little bit. For example, in Hawaiian music, a lot of the 2s are dominant 7s. So that's why you hear D7, G7, C for the vowel. It has a completely unique feel, but that's because it bends the rule a little bit. So again, this is what I want you to memorize first, the major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, because this is going to get the ball rolling for a lot of
What,
this.
what would 7 be, or would you just
Like
never
a half
play?
diminished, but don't worry about it.
Okay.
You're not gonna see it like ever.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So that's the progression for all, I mean, that's the formula for all chord progressions. Of the M, big M.
Yes. For like 99%.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Major, minor, minor, major, major, minor.
Right.
And the 6 is a minor or diminished?
6 is a minor.
6 is a minor.
Yeah. Now, let's say I was playing in a key of C, and I was doing a 1-4-5. C, F, G. And I say it's too high for me. What if I play that same progression, 1-4-5, but now in the key of F?
Oh.
If F is my 1, what is my 1-4-5 in the key of F? F major, and then B flat, C. And all of a sudden, this is how we're going to transpose songs to match your voice. Where you don't have to completely change the whole song. So this is your second assignment. When you look at some of your chord charts and you know it's out of your range vocally, start writing down the number of that chord instead of, so if you have a chord chart that says C, F, and G, you can write that as 1, 4,
4, 5.
and 5. And then try it in a different key, maybe a 1, 4, 5 in the key of A. What's my 1, 4, 5 in the key of A? A major,
D.
B, and E or E7. Which is much easier.
Yes.
But this is how we can use all of that information and make it applicable to fit our needs. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Not too bad?
Mhm,
Yes,
okay.
question.
So when you said you could switch from the number 5 between the major
Or maybe or dominant 7, yeah.
so anytime you can do that?
You're gonna typically, it's up to you. But typically you will, it depends on the song, but the major and the dominant 7 will have a slightly different sound to it, but you can use your own, whatever you feel like matches the song more in that particular sense. But the dominant 7 is usually used to turn it around back to the 1. Yes?
Greg, I know guitar players use capos to bring it down to the vocal range. And I know there's capos for ukuleles, but they don't work. I mean,
If you capo here,
yeah, it's,
you just lost like a third of your sound.
Right.
Because, so to me, guitar, 6 fingers. Most of us don't have 6 fingers. 4 strings, 4 fingers. We can be our own capo.
yeah. So that's what the key changes there.
Yeah.
It's a replacement for capo.
Yeah.
It's a better solution.
Yeah. Any other questions? Yes.
So when we see a chord chart.
Yes.
So we can figure out the progression, just looking at the chords they're telling us to play, and then just figure out if it's a 1, a 6, a 2, or a 5. Okay.
That's bad.
Well,
Any other questions? And this is not even going into the next section yet.
yeah.
You guys are doing good.
Just have it.
Yes.
All right, so to follow my question, so you're with a group, there's some guitars in here, and they're playing in a ski, trip, and they said, we're gonna capo this on 2. So what does that mean we're gonna transpose?
Most guitarists won't say that. They'll still know what key they're playing. I mean, if they don't, so well, let's say for example they're playing in the key of C,
Okay,
but then they capo at 2 frets.
okay.
Each fret represents what?
Half
A
step.
half step. So in the key of C, they're now, what's a half step up from C? C sharp. What's another half step up?
D.
To D. So they're playing now in D.
D.
So then you would use your D scale and D family of chords to match. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So the number of strings is not, there's the same theory about what the frets are, the guitar, translate. So,
Yeah.
got it.
See how easy this is? Are you guys ready for the hard part? Alright, now, before I start erasing, any other questions? Because again, this is your time, and we have it on video, so some of these questions are fantastic, and I'm glad we got it on video. Okay, so again, don't forget your homework assignments for now is, again, writing out 1 through 8, carrot the 3 and 4, 7 and 8, and start writing out your scales. And again, just focus on a couple each morning, and even if you repeat throughout the week, the more you do that, the quicker you'll start to put things together. So for example, in the key of F, what's the big difference between the key of F and the key of C?
There's a flat.
B flat.
Yeah.
That's it. So if I play the exact same notes, but just remember to bring my B to a B flat, then I'm golden. It's things like that that you can start seeing. Really thinking about the chords that you're playing so you don't have to read music the entire time. Start thinking in numbers, saying that song is just like the other song, which is a 1-4-5 progression, or a 1-6-2-5 progression. But start thinking in those patterns because it's going to make things a lot easier to memorize. Now, the one hardship about just the numbers is it doesn't tell you how long each chord is going to be played, but you'll start to listen to that. But as long as you know the chord, the progression is, you can hear those changes.
Yeah.
But you have to start being very meticulous about how you're using your time, because we don't have 8 hours a day to practice. But during those jams, when you're playing with others, if you can start thinking in numbers, all of a sudden you can create practice time for yourself while still having fun. But I loved playing in a group because that's when I would do all of my exercises and fills and you know, trying to play up the neck and thinking about the different voicings. Now, and you guys are moving a little bit faster than the last group, so I'm going to keep pushing forward. Yes.
So the word progression just means picking
Yes.
the numbers. When you say progression, you're just picking the numbers going to your key and then picking the notes going across. That's all the word progression.
So progression means that song is created by a certain order of those chords in that family.
So it could be a different order for different.
Exactly.
songs.
Exactly. And this is only major key right now. You know, we haven't even talked about minor keys and how that scale is a little different. But you don't even need to worry about that right now. Again, my biggest thing, especially at events like this, we tend to try to do way too much at once. I'm all about stripping things down and mastering one tiny thing at a time, and then moving on to the next. And then it feels like it's under your belt. Then it feels like you actually have it down. When you try to do too much, you become kind of like that jack of all trades that you don't quite get to the point you need to really utilize what you learned. So don't be afraid to slow things down and just go through this and get it down. I promise you it's gonna be so much easier to push forward.
Why do you, I need to see, why do you present it as, why not present it in order 1, 2, 5, 6 instead of 1, 6, 2, 5?
Oh no, I asked for a 1625.
No, you called it as a 1.
Yeah.
It could have been a 1, 2, 5, 6.
Well, it would sound completely different.
Oh, I understand, right.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
it'd be the same notes.
Well, if the 6 and 2 flipped, or so for example, if I played a 1, 2, 5, 6,
Right,
my chords then become 1, C.
right.
What is my 2? D minor. What is my 5? G. What is my 6?
A minor.
it's
So
the
my
same-
progression completely changes.
Right, but it's the same notes.
Yeah.
C, D minor, G7, and A.
It's the
Same
same
chord.
chord.
It's the same chords, but completely different.
Yes, I understand,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like a 1, 6, 2, 5 is kind of like almost like a jazz
Oh, yeah, no, of
progression,
course, not
right?
notes, that's right. Okay.
Nice.
So is that
Yeah.
considered in the same chord family?
Yes,
it's
because
the
we're still in the
same
key of
notes?
C. Yes.
Right.
So if we do that like in A, it's gonna be the same minors and everything, like, yeah, it's
Yeah.
just gonna be
Yeah.
different
chord,
chord,
yeah.
got it.
We got a lot of charts for the doo-wop thing, C A minor, F and G.
Yeah.
And C A minor, D minor, G. You can kind of switch those D minor, F. It kind of sounds almost the same.
Well, D minor and F, they're relative major, relative minor. So
Yeah.
that's why we can kind of replace.
Because I see them and they go, whatever you have, you could play either one, and it's going to be almost the same song.
Kind of. Now, here's the reason why that can only get you so far. So the question was, a lot of times in songs they say, oh, you can either play F or D minor. It doesn't really matter, but it does, because here's the reason. Borrow this. And it works. Ooh, is that a baritone?
No.
Oh. No, for example, can you play a D minor for me? I'm just gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if I played in F as my bass, keep going. It has this kind of, maybe, it has this nice little happier feel, but if I change to my D note, it sounds more like a minor. So your bassist will be extremely frustrated if you actually say it's a D minor and he'll play the D minor, the D root, compared to playing the F root, which will completely change the sound. So that's the only reason it makes a difference. For youth players, if you're in a group, it doesn't matter because it's going to sound the same. But if you have other instruments, especially a bass player,
Okay.
that completely changes it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Doesn't
Awesome.
it
Great
kind of change
question.
the timbre, the like how it feels from major to minor?
Well, again, for you, it doesn't matter because I can play an F6 or a D minor. It's the exact same chord and notes, but it's the other stuff.
That's the other stuff.
Yeah.
Either have the same song.
All right. You racy? Good? All right. I have so much more to go. I'm so excited. Okay, so before we get to soloing, I want to do one more thing. Oh. No, we'll do soloing first. That's more important. Okay. What are my string names? Starting with the string closest to my face.
G.
And then?
C.
And then?
E.
And then?
A.
Make sense?
Yeah.
My C scale. I'm gonna notate it like this. C open, C2. So that means you're gonna play your open C string, which is that second string from your face. Play, play, play. Oh, C open.
Oh,
Oh, you want us to play?
C open,
Okay.
C open. Good. This means C string, second fret. C string, second fret. Oh, C string, C string.
Oh, C.
Yep. Good. Dum, bum, bum. So C string, this guy. So first one is open. So just that one string. Yep, there you go. And that's the second fret there. Good. Then the next string over, the E string open. The 1, the 3, open A, 2, and 3. Let's try this again. C open, 2, E open, 1, 3, open A, 2, 3. Now again, if this is completely new to you, you have this to review, but does the concept make sense for now?
Yeah.
Now, that's your C major scale. I could write out my scale notes, which is C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, but this to me, if you're starting out, this is a little bit easier, just you worrying about the fret numbers, that's all. Now, if I was to write that out on my fretboard, I have C open, C string second fret, E open, the 1, the 3, open A, the 2, and the 3. Sometimes visually makes it a little bit easier. Does that make sense? So they're both one and the same, if I was to do one note at a time. Now, all right, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna write our first song together.
oh, there you
Right now, on the right side is just the progression we're gonna use, but in the key of C. So this is, if this is in the key of C, what number, what progression are we playing? A 1,
go. 1,
5, 6,
6,
4. Everyone get how we got there?
Yeah.
So again, this is the same thing. If you saw a chart and it said C, G, A minor, F, I want you to start thinking, okay, that's a 1, a G, which is my 5, A minor, which is my 6, F, which is my 4. Now, in the key of C, how many sharps and flats do we have? None. Shout out letters to me. Notes in the key of C.
C.
C,
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 C.
F.
F,
G.
and D. I heard a G,
What?
A,
Those are notes?
A.
D.
D, and C. What else?
D.
B, F,
E.
E,
A.
A. Keep going.
G.
G,
A.
A,
D.
D. Keep going. A.
Could you
All right.
start, what are we doing
So, these are random, this is gibberish.
here?
These are just
Oh,
random notes in the key of C,
Okay.
in the C scale.
Wow.
I'm gonna play our song that we just wrote together.
Oh, dear. Great. Great.
I don't think it's gonna sound very good.
All right,
That would be great.
here we go. So I'm playing the notes, and then I'm gonna play the chord that we're playing over. So it's gonna sound like this: C, C, F, D, G, A, D, C, D, F, E, A, G, A, D, A. Not my favorite. But that was complete gibberish, correct?
Yeah.
But it worked.
Now,
We're just ahead of our time.
I'm gonna make
Groove
one
back, baby, groove
one
back.
change. I'm gonna play our song one more time.
Yeah.
C, C, and all of a sudden it sounds a lot better.
It almost sounds like.
Let's try this one more time. Let's try this one more time. I'm gonna keep that last line consistent for a second. And I want you to shout out more notes at me. Keep them coming, go.
B,
B, C. Keep A, keep going. F, G. D, keep going.
A.
A. B, E. Keep going.
F,
C, F,
A.
A. Alright. Here's our song part 2. B, C, A, C. Not bad. F, G, D, G. Not bad. A, B, E, A.
Oh.
C.
Huh.
What was the one big change that I did?
Last note is the same as the chord.
That last note was the root of the chord we're playing in. So we can take complete gibberish, but all of a sudden, once we end on that root, that completely safe note, it starts to kind of fit. Now, homework assignment number 3 is you're gonna do blank, 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 and you're gonna keep that last line consistent. So because we're playing over the key, over the C chord, we're gonna end on that C note. So next line. So this is what it's gonna look like when you do your homework. It's gonna be blank, 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 C, blank, 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 G, blank, blank, blank. And again, this is in the video, so you don't have to worry too much unless you want to practice right after this and be a good student. But now, I'm gonna take some of that gibberish away, because some of the things that did not work well is when you had these big jumps. Because if I was to emulate that with my voice, and I talked up here and then down here and up here, that's not very easy to follow. It's not very easy on the ears. But let's try something a little different now. Let's say I wanted to see if let's try a walk up to every note. Well, walk up means I'm gonna go up to my C note in the C scale. So let's work backwards. What's in my C scale? What's before C? B. And then?
A.
And then?
G.
Good. Everyone get that? We walk backwards in the scale?
Yeah.
G backwards. F, E, D. G, F, E, and E, D, C. Do you think this is gonna sound good? We'll see. Here we go. G, A, B, C. D, E, F, G. E, F, G, A. C, D. Not bad, right? And again, this is just taking our scale notes, but now we're giving it a theme. Now we're giving it something that is leading up to structure. Let's try something different. What if we tried doing the exact same 3 notes for every single line? Do you think this is gonna work, or can it get kind of boring? A, B, C, C. A, B, C, G. A, B, C, A. A, B, C, A.
Oh, it sounds nice.
And it sounds like a Pop 40 hit. This is how easy songwriting is. Because now, even after that second one, in your head, you already could imagine what the next line was gonna be. You could pretty much hum that melody because it's recalled and circular. This is how easy it is to start filling in. Now, the homework assignment is when you have the blank, blank, blank C, use your tech, use your smartphones. I used to use a big red cassette recorder, and I would record myself playing C, G, A minor, and F. Like 4 minutes long, which is a very long time. But I would rewind it, play it back, and then I would practice pluck, 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 C. And I would write these things down And the ones that I really enjoyed, I would circle. I would kind of keep them aside, and I would use that to recall things and experiment a little bit.
So you play against yourself?
Yes.
Okay.
Or with myself.
Oh, that-
I wouldn't say against, I'm not competing against myself, but all right. Does that make sense?
What app do you use to record your?
On your iPhone, it comes with a great app called Voice Memos that is free and already included.
And if you don't
And
have
if you're an
that,
Android, then there's an Apple Store down the street. No, there are a lot of free, and I believe they have a standard app as well.
How they use their
Yeah.
voice recorder.
Yeah.
and what's it called again? Even if it is.
It's your voice recorder.
Voice Memo on iPhone and
It's voice recorder.
oh, it's a
and
voice
Android.
recorder on Android?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Yes.
Okay, so the very last thing that we started with came from the.
So I picked a progression to start with.
And that came from the system that had to do with the families of notes. And
Yes, from
then-
this guy, yeah.
And then the things going backward are just the pluck strings. that
Notes
were
within my
in
scale
the-
notes, yes.
Okay.
So that's why, again, this, being able to do this to start is so dang important because, again, it tells us our scale notes from, and we can create melodies from just that. And it also tells us that family of chords that we will use. So that's why, again, if anything, this is the big thing to get under your belt first. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and that's why you have the A minor, but you plus the A.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why it's not an A minor note that I'm playing, it's just the A, which happens to be the root of A minor. Nice. All right.
So when we practice this, when we do our homework, we're doing, those notes are quarter notes, so you're strumming and,
Oh, so for example, can you strum for me? So we'll do C, G, A minor, and F. And what I'm gonna do, and keep going, so C, pluck, 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 C, pluck, 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 G, pluck, 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 A, pluck, pluck, pluck. And that's just random notes that
but
go
you
into
always
my head.
wanna.
But I ended on the root
And
over
on
the
the
chord.
root of, i.e. what the chord's gonna be, the root of the chord.
Not too bad.
Got it.
Now, here's the cool thing. Again, simplicity, start small. We only have 3 variables to start with. Once you get used to that, what we're gonna do, you're gonna take each variable and all of a sudden we have 6 to pick from. Well, I played the wrong chord. But all of a sudden, now we have twice as many things to try with our melody. Now, there's one thing I didn't even add yet that makes a heck of a difference. Besides just notes, what else can I add?
Chords.
Chord. Rhythm?
Dynamic.
Timing.
I'll rest.
Oh, right.
So all of a sudden, I could do something like. Well, I played the wrong chord there. But do you see where I'm going? This, and again, all of the fills, all of the solos you hear us play are just selective notes within that scale. This is where we get creative. This is where you get to do your version or your song, but you have these nice kind of templates. You have these nice kind of building blocks to get there. Not only that, we could also add different techniques, and we can do hammer-ons. We can do pull-offs. We can do slides. I forgot. But again, all the things that you've been learning, now you have a place to actually practice them. And again, we're doing like 8 birds with one stone here. There's so many cool things that you can focus on. And again, don't try to do everything, but one day maybe I'll play with dynamics one day, and that's all you'll change. Or I'll play with just one theme, or I'll play with 6, but that's keep it interesting for you, and again, it's easy to get overwhelmed but keep the variables small at first and then keep pushing from there. Yes?
They're always in the C scale. All the notes you fill in.
Because I'm in the key of C, all of my notes for now will be in the C scale.
For now.
Yeah. If I was playing, let's say I was playing a progression in F,
Yeah, I think
the only difference is the B flat, right? So all my notes would be the same, but again, you want to make sure you end the phrase over the root of whatever chord you happen to be playing over. Okay. Any questions thus far?
So say for instance, you're in the key of C, but maybe you're playing like a jazz progression, like a 1/6, 2/5 or something like that. But when you do your solo, the end note has to be the chord that you're playing, but you're still in
The root.
C.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Yep.
Thanks.
Now, I'm gonna give you guys some time to try this. I'm gonna be your backing band. Instead of 4 chords though, we're just gonna play over that first line. So blank, 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 C. Now, the C note that I want, we have 2 in the C scale. I want this C to be the one we land on.
Okay.
So, it's gonna be like something like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, rest, pluck, 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 C, 2, 3, 4, rest, random, 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 C. So, as long as we hit that C note, we should be okay. Let me hear that C note for a second. Oh, not the chord, just the note, just the note. And the high C, this guy. Third part, yep. So that's the C that I want us to end on.
Yeah, okay.
Yep, perfect. Now, again, before that, the 3 random notes can be any of these guys. Okay? As long as we end on the
C. So you don't want us playing chords, you want us playing
single
notes.
notes. Yep.
And you only want us playing on those 3 strings,
Yes.
not the G string.
Right now, just these dots. Just
Okay.
any of those 3 dots.
Okay.
All right, so we're gonna go about this speed. 1, 2, 3, 4, rest, pluck, 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 C, 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 2, 3, 4, rest, pluck, 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 C. Now pause right there. Now we understand why when we play something that's not in the key of C, it stands out, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't really fit. But that's, again, why it's so important right now. Again, rules are made to be broken. Later on, you can do whatever the heck you want, but understand the rules first before we start mucking with them. So again, let's try this again. If this is a lot right now, just choose from, let's say, the A string. You have 3 different notes to choose from. You could do A, B, A, C. Just stick with any 3 notes on that A string, but end on C. Here we go again. 1, 2, 3, 4, rest. Pluck, 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 C. 2, 3, 4, rest. Pluck, 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 C. 2, 3, 4, rest. Pluck, 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 C. Nice. 2, 3, 4, rest. Pluck, 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 C. Not bad. Not bad. Not bad. Now, again, if we moved on to that second line, it'd be the same notes that we choose from. Random, 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 but we end on G. The third line, same notes, random, 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 but open A. Then the last line, random, 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 and F. That's how I want you guys to start practicing. Is that concept-wise not too bad? Now, this is one of my favorite parts.
Evil scientist.
Sounds like an evil scientist.
What is the only difference in these two shapes?
C sharp.
It's moved up. No, it's moved.
No, you're.
Yes, it's a half
It's
step.
two
It's moved
differences.
up,
Seventh, no, it's
a
not.
half,
Right, that's right.
So we have the 3 in a row. We have the 3 in a row.
Right, the next
We have
slide,
the step between there.
you're missing,
We have that's the same. But this is the string that changes in that shape. See, we have a skip and then a step. Now we have a step and a skip.
Oh, jeez.
That's the only difference in that shape. Now, this is going to be important. This is going to be incredibly cool, I think. So, on the 7th fret, this happens to be my G note. A whole step up from G is
B.
A. Now this happens to be B. What's a half step up from B?
C.
C.
What's a whole step up from C?
D,
D.
This happens to be E. Half step up from E is?
F.
F.
Whole step up is?
G.
G.
Now, these notes are also found in the key of C because there's no sharps and there's no flats. Which means, if I had access to all these chords here in the key of C, now I can jump up halfway up my neck and have access to the exact same notes in a different order, but just with one note difference. So that means, can you softly strum a C chord for me? 1, 2, 3. Now, that means I can solo, and it sounds great. But now I can jump up to the 7th fret and play this shape. 2, 3, 4. Now, my ending note was not on that A string anymore because my root, my C note, is now here.
Oh,
But this is how we can instantly jump up the neck and start playing all the way up here and get completely new voicings, completely new notes, and still only memorize the same shape with just that one note difference. Does that make sense? Now, we're gonna try this together. Just like how we did random, random, random C, when I say jump up, you're gonna take your index finger, jump up to the 7th fret, and we're gonna play these notes. Any of these notes, random, random, random. But now remember, our C note is this guy. Now, just for fun, let's play notes in this shape. So jump up to the 7th fret on the C string. Let me hear that. Again. Good, let me hear this note. Good. Bring the index over for this note. To the C note. Jump up. Next string over 7th fret. Step. And then skip. Now, our ear wants to make that, right?
Yeah.
Because that's this shape. So what if we were playing the F sharp? We would actually be playing a G major scale.
oh my.
But to keep it from being a G major scale, we have to play that F note. But that's why, when you're playing this from scratch, always come all the way back down to C. So I'm gonna start on G, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, backwards, F, E, D, C. Then it feels like a C scale. But it's that trick on the ear that it wants to sharp that F if you're just starting from here.
Yeah.
But if you're already playing the key of C, it's gonna sound, you don't have to kind of muck with that, if that makes sense. Now, again, what we're gonna do, we're gonna do pluck, 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 C, 2, 3, 4, rest, pluck, 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 C, and then I'm gonna say, jump up! And you're gonna jump up to that 7th fret, and you're gonna pluck any of these notes. Pluck, 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 but end on C. Let me hear that C note on that E string. Okay, so remember, just land on that note and you'll be fine. All right, so let's start on the bottom. Let's start on the shape. Same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rest. Pluck, pluck, pluck. C. 2, 3, 4. Rest. Pluck, pluck, pluck. C. 2. One more time. 4. Rest. Pluck, pluck, pluck. C. Jump up. 2, 3, 4, rest, pluck, 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 C, 2, 3, 4, rest, pluck, 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 C, 2, 3, 4, rest, pluck, 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 C, drop back down, 3, 4, rest, pluck, 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 C, 2, 3, 4, rest, pluck, 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 C, 2, 3, 4, rest, pluck, pluck, C, 2, jump up, 4, rest, jump, 2, C, 2, 3, 4, rest, pluck, 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 C, 2, 3, 4, rest, pluck, 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 C. Not too bad?
Yeah.
Now, strum a C chord for me again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, I'm going to emulate what we just did. And again, the same exact shape minus that one note. And you have so much access that you can do. Now, I knew it had to be the 7th fret because the kind of template for this is, if this is your original shape in a major key, to do that secondary shape is you're gonna find the 5 note in your scale. So in the key of C, our 5 note is G. So that's where we start. That shape on the C string is on the 5 note. Does that make sense? Yes, so to get from one shape to the other, if you're starting in this shape, whatever key you're in, this is over in the key of C, you're gonna find the 5th note in that scale. So 5 in the key of C is a G. So I found my G note on that C string, C, D, E, F, G. So now I can start. Oh. Not too bad. Now, let's say we're playing in a D progression. If I'm playing in D, we're gonna try this for a second. C open. 2nd fret. Open. 1, 3. Open A. 2, 3. Now take your index finger. Place it on this side of the white bar. So it doesn't affect the sound at all. It's on that side. I'm sorry to say, but your finger has been eaten by a crocodile. So now, anything on the 1st fret, you'll be using your middle. Anything on the 2nd, ring. Anything on the 3rd, pinky. Oh, that side of the white bar. Yep. So, open C.
Oh,
Ring finger for 2nd fret. Open E. 1st fret with the middle. Pinky to the 3. Open A. Ring finger for the 2. Pinky for the 3. So we did the exact same thing, just with different fingers. Now, our crocodile finger turned into a zombie crocodile finger. So he's slowly rising from the grave. He's now on the 1st fret. We're gonna pretend this is our open strings. So that means open C with the bar, ring finger on the 3rd, or ring finger up 2 frets, bar on the next string, the E, step up with the middle, stretch out with the pinky, A string with the bar, skip to the ring, pinky on the 3. And this is again on this video, so no worries right now if it's a little too much. What scale did we just play? A C sharp major scale.
Wow.
As long as we keep that same form and move everything at the same place, it keeps whatever properties it has. So if we're playing a major scale, and we move it up 1/2 step, it's going to be now a C sharp major scale. If I move up 1 more 1/2 step, what scale is that? That's my D major scale. If I moved up 1/2 step, what is that? E flat or D sharp major. Another step up, E, another half step up, F. So if I'm playing an F, that's my F major scale that I can start riffing on. And again, if this last note in my scale is my root note, and down here as well, when I'm playing this in F, I know my safe note is on the top of that scale, because the root will always stay the root, as long as you move that whole shape up. Now this is very similar as if we're playing a B flat chord, and if we move up half step, what is this? A B. What is half step up? C. Half step up? C sharp, half step up? D. See how easy this is. There's no reason why you can't play up the neck, because you know all of these chords already. You're just playing them in a different position. For example, this C chord. If I moved everything up, so if I barred the first fret and then pinky went out to the fourth fret, what chord is this? C sharp. Half step up. D, half step up. D sharp, half step up. E, half step up. So there's no reason not to start moving these shapes up. You already know how to play these things. Now, this is, again, going to be one of the best jumping off points to just start moving, but we have to keep those constants happen. Again, the big thing is landing on the root. Now, here's another question. If the root happens to work perfectly because it's found in our chord, and if we're playing over a C chord, what other safe notes could I land on?
G, C, or
Everything.
What is a major chord made out of? The 1,
1,
3. So I could land on an E, I could land on a G, and it will be perfect. It will sound a little different, but again, keep the variables small at first, and then start. For me, I love ending on a 7 note. So for example, I can riff, and I love kind of letting that ring. You know, it has a nice kind of, a little tense kind of feel. But again, once you get the rings down, then you can start manipulating, then you can start breaking them a little bit. Already, any questions? Not too bad?
got heavy at the end.
Question?
To get this video, that
Yes.
we email you.
Yes. Because I do not have your email address, so I will not be able. Yeah.
You can't read mine.
Yeah. Now again, if you don't hear from me within this week, send me another note. But please do not. Make sure you get this video. It's gonna. This will be useful for weeks or months or all year, and it'll be up forever as long as no one shares it. And again, you know, not too bad.
Not too bad.
All right. Thank you guys very, very much. You guys did good. All right. Now.